Good, great. There you are.
Hello. Hi, sir.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
So
Good.
you got closer to that Wi-Fi? I think signal
No,
was a
I,
little
I,
weak the
I've
first time.
never done this live video before, so I had no idea I have to send you a request to become a
Okay,
part
there
of
you go.
it. Yeah. So Sanit
Perfect.
comes
There.
in running and he's like, "Do you want my phone?" Sir is asking. I'm like, "No, no, wait, I
No,
got this."
no worry, no worry.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting there for the first time, which is a good thing because I know. I mean, you're not the first guest. There've been I think 15 in front who've
Yes,
also
sir.
come on for the first time.
Right, sir.
Uh,
Yeah.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
good to see you, Gaurika. So how
Same
have
here,
you
sir.
been?
I've
All
been
good?
good. How are you doing? I hope family's staying safe.
Everybody's staying safe. I think that's
Yeah.
the best that we can do.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely, sir.
nothing much for us to do anyways outside this place. So
Right.
I've stepped
Yeah.
out of my house maybe 2 or 3 times this whole time just to get
Right,
some
sir.
essentials.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we locked up. And how are you keeping up with the golf stuff? What are you doing? What are you up to?
Well, I had a minor surgery, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really
right.
just recovering right now. But definitely, I started off with some putting right now. But I've been recommended to basically not swing the club just yet.
Good.
So yeah, well, I've just started off with putting on the mat for time being.
So in a way, it worked out well with you because this became like off season
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
So
totally, sir.
you'll be
It's off
absolutely
season.
ready.
Yeah, plus the lockdown happened, and I'm not really sure when the next event will be now, looking at the just the situation right now. So, kind of a blessing in disguise for me, maybe.
Yeah, I know a lot of pros are eagerly awaiting wanting to know what's on the other side, but that other side is a pretty elusive other side right
Right,
now.
sir.
And
Yeah, yeah.
especially tournament golf or large gatherings, I don't know when that can happen.
Yes,
But
sir.
let's talk a bit about yourself, Gaurika. So how did you get into this game, and what got you in, and how old were you when you started, and why?
Um, so I remember, I mean, I don't remember, I was young, but dad has told me that we were
I
on a
remember
summer
some.
vacation. Yeah, I started off pretty much like you've seen me grow into the game. So we went to actually Singapore for summer vacations. And so we were just roaming in a mall, some shopping, and there was like a full-fledged golf store there. So Sanhit goes in. For people who don't know, he's my brother. And he just starts putting, and people were like, "Wow, he's quite a natural for someone who's never held a club before." So he really wanted to get into the game, and Dad probably thought maybe it's just, like something he wants to do right now. Maybe he wouldn't want to pursue it eventually, but he was really stubborn about the fact that he wants to play golf. So eventually, Dad went to States and got him a golf set, and then he thought, if he's going to get into the game, then Gaurika should as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, well, that's how it started, and it's been 11 years now since I've been playing. So I
Yeah,
started at the age of 10. Yeah.
at the age of 10, wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so I think I met you somewhere around that time, loitering
Yeah,
around the
I
driving
played the
range.
Champions
Yeah,
Tour, and I
that's right.
remember. Yeah.
That's right. And I remember asking you the one of the times when you used to just come with Sanit that why don't you play? And you're like, no, I don't want to play. It's him who's
Yeah.
playing. And look who turned out to be number one. Not that
Yeah.
Sanit is younger, so he still has the
Yes,
time to
sir.
become number one.
Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
I see Gaurika up there, which
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
so Gaurika, tell me, professional golf, was that like a dream of yours when you started golf, or you were just playing
I
because,
think I've been really lucky with the kind of support I've got from my parents. They were never, too eager about anything. They didn't want me to suddenly look at golf as a profession, or they didn't push the game on me. It was absolutely my decision along the line. And yeah, to start with, I just fell in love with the sport, and I started playing some the monthly medal rounds, some junior tournaments, and I was performing well. Then I won the national championship in 2015. So that was like a turning point for me because I felt winning zonal events and club events is easy, but winning a national tournament, your national open is quite a big deal, especially
right,
what the kind of tests it puts you through, so many
right.
match plays, then a 36-hole stroke play. It's quite testing. So I think after that time, I started considering that I really want to take the game up as my profession.
Wow, so that was great. And
Yeah.
all this while you were still playing junior golf and stuff like that. How about education? Did you ever think that you needed to put some extra in, or was it taxing you playing golf and
Uh,
studying at the same time?
so honestly, I never really had a choice because my mom's a principal in a government school. So you understand how important education also is in the family, especially when you have a principal at home. So but I think also myself, I've never really wanted to do open schooling or go to an open college. I've always wanted to have a good education by my side, no matter
Right,
what kind of a
right.
golfer I become.
Hmm.
So I did my schooling from Delhi Public School, and
Okay.
then I did my economics honors from Jesus and Mary College, Delhi University.
Wow. Wow.
So I always
And you were
gave
you were playing you were
study,
playing you were playing golf
yeah.
all through.
Absolutely.
Oh,
In
fantastic.
2015, clearly remember I had my boards going on,
Right,
and the All India happens in December.
right.
And I remember I asked my principal that, ma'am, I have my All India. Can I please go and play? And she's like, you have your boards coming up. Maybe you should focus on that. I'm like, no, I think I want to go. So I just went for the All India and had my pre-boards that time. And well, I won
Right.
it. And then out of my 2 years in college, I finished number one again. Everything was happening side by side with my education, with my full-fledged education, no open schooling, none of that.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. So you didn't have to cut any corners or try to
No,
take an
sir. No, sir.
alternative
I
route or
never I
whatever.
never tried to also. I never tried to.
Right. That's
Yeah.
super stuff, Gaurika.
Yeah.
And
Thank
pro
you.
golf, how was
Yes,
that
sir.
initiation and how did that come along? I mean, how was that started? What did you do? What have you achieved?
I think so how it started for me was I had played all the events I could as an amateur. I played the World Championship and I played the Queen Circuit Cup thrice, which is considered to be a very prestigious event in Asia
Yes, it
Pacific.
is. Yeah, yes.
And then I won the All India. So I was honestly,
Wow.
there wasn't much challenge left for me as an amateur. I'm being very humble here, but honestly, there wasn't much. So well, yeah, I just decided that, maybe it's time to take a step up, and I don't
Right.
want to stagnate myself to just an amateur status because end of the day, I always knew I want to turn professional. So I think I
Right.
was ready for the step, and it was absolutely my decision. It wasn't forced on me by my parents. They didn't tell me that, you should turn pro now. And I think that's why it worked so well in my favor because if I know I'm ready, then it's definitely going to work out. But if I have even a little doubt that am I ready, it's not going to work out.
Right. I see
So,
that in you, when you come
yeah.
for training sessions. I see
Yes,
that
sir.
you never commit to anything unless you're completely ready at it.
Yeah, no, I
And
don't. I
you
don't.
told me also, no, we're working on this. Let me not play this event. So I
Right,
kind of
sir.
said, fine, here's a girl who knows that she wants to go and fully prepared into an event and not
Right,
half
sir.
done, nothing half baked for her.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Super. That's a great attitude, and I think that'll take you a long way itself,
yeah.
Gorika.
Thank you,
So
sir.
in the future. But
Yeah.
tell us otherwise, what are your plans like? Do you want to stick around in India? I know you're playing the European tour. You've also on the Asian tour. So where do you see golf taking you? I mean, you're still very very young,
Yes,
and
sir.
you have a complete career in front of you. So where do you see yourself maybe 5 years from now?
So, like, honestly, I really want to be on the LPGA, and I think that's the aim for everyone. But then it also comes to how much effort you're putting in. That's the only reason I'm not continuing my education further because I just want to, it's time for me to get 100% committed to the game. And I feel if I am 100% committed, I can definitely get to where I want to be. So, well, yeah, this year I was supposed to play quite a few LET events since I finished number one last year. But the scope of that looks really bleak now amongst COVID-19 and the lockdown and just how the world is facing this
Right.
pandemic. So that was the plan to play the European tour this year, hopefully try to keep my card, win a few events. But well, let's see how it goes from here. But my aim is to be on the LPGA. So I'm considering going for the Q school soon. When I feel ready, I'll know when I'm ready, and that's when I'm going to go for the Q school.
So that's a great foresight that you need to plan for the way you are and then go full-hearted, wholehearted into Q school to play
Right,
the
sir.
LPGA.
Yeah.
But then I understand also that LPGA, you'll need to make the move. You'll have to shift there, stay there. So are you
Yeah.
mentally already attuned or tuned up for that? You know, that you need to be
Like,
there for a while.
I think more than me, my dad is. So he's really keen on taking me to States, and I'm very sure that he will 100% support the. If it comes to shifting to States, I'll definitely do that also because end of the day, I will never get such an opportunity again to be on the LPGA, and moving to States will just be a little like a little pay thing for being on the LPGA, and I'm very much willing to do it. And my family is also ready. I think that's equally important
Right,
because
right,
sometimes the player feels ready to make such a big move, but the family is still not ready. So I think
right.
it's very important for the family and player to be at sync through every step of their career because the journey just becomes easier that way.
Right. No, I can see that from your support structure that you have. Everything is very easy and smooth at the moment. And
Right,
Lalit
sir.
and your mother obviously have made it much simpler because
Yeah.
I know I've seen your father kind of out there
Yes,
day in,
sir.
day out with
Always,
you and
always.
your brother. He's
Yes,
traveled
sir.
with you all over the world just to
Yeah,
be with you and
definitely
give you
he
that
has.
support.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, tell me, what are the hurdles that come in the way? There are difficulties, I understand, in anybody trying to figure out a pro career. What do you think the difficulties are, and how do you think, or what kind of help do you think is required to overcome those?
So I think firstly, you need a great team around you. You need a good coach, like I have you, and you
Thank
need
you.
a good trainer, and you need a nutritionist. You need to have a team around you which keeps pushing you, right? It's not a one-man journey. It will always be your family and your team along with you, no matter where you go, even if it's the Indian tour, be it the LET or the LPGA. So I feel all hurdles are really personal to the player. We all don't face the same hurdle. Maybe my hurdles are not what someone else would face. Since I have a supportive family, maybe there would be a golfer whose family is not as supportive. So the kind of hurdles they would go through would be much different. So I think your
Right.
hurdles are very personal, but if you have the drive and passion to be somewhere, you will definitely get there, no matter how many hurdles come your way.
But do you think anything can be done for up and coming golfers like yourself, or something that you guys would need jointly to actually push you out into the international scene? Because I see a lot of our girls, they have a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, but
Hmm,
sometimes it's difficult to get out there. It's expensive and things like that. So what kind of
definitely.
do you
I
have a
think,
wish list? Yeah.
yeah, so I think first on my wish list would be more sponsors. I think all the companies are very much happy to sponsor men and not the women. So I think we need more sponsors on the women's tour who pick selected women, who sponsor them, who kind of look after their expenses because, so end of the day, how much you make and how much you're actually spending comes at par. So there's not 100% profit unless and until you're finishing all the time inside top three.
Right.
So that's, I think, the biggest thing now. Going to States for someone like me who has no sponsor would be quite a big deal because it'll be all the money going from my pocket, not just for me, but also my dad because he always travels with me. And I'm
Right.
sure this is what other girls would also face, and maybe boys too. So I think we
Right.
just need more sponsors who come forward because a sponsor can really help the player firstly be mentally satisfied that
Right.
you have a backup, you have someone
Right.
who will look after you so you can go all out and you don't have to worry about anything. So I think personally on my wish would be more sponsors who want to sponsor girls.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think other than that, our tour is doing actually quite well. Like WGI has a great tie-up with the European tour with various countries. So finishing number one or number two both in your country would get you an exemption to play on the European tour. And I
Wow.
think that's fantastic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
about in a year, you would get 7 to 8 events, few events on the LET's Access Tour and the the main tour. So I think in that sense, WGI is really supportive. They also give player reimbursements to the top three players or top four players, and they're doing everything they can to help you. So there's absolutely nothing that the government body can do more for us. They're at the 100% right now, maybe 90%, but yeah, it's great.
So
There's
so when
always
you
a little
talk
scope of improvement everywhere. So.
So when you talk
Yeah.
reimbursements that you get
Yeah.
from the pro body,
Yes,
what
sir.
kind of reimbursements are these? Like if you're suppose traveling to Australia
Right, sir.
for an event, so what kind of reimbursement would you get? The tickets and stuff like
So
that, or hotel?
yeah,
What is
yeah.
it?
So my tickets, my hotels, and the inbound traveling, wherever I'm going in Australia,
Right,
um, food bills. So
right.
you just need to get all your bills and get them sanctioned from WGI, and they will reimburse it for you. And
Wow.
so I think it's fantastic what they're doing, how much they're promoting women's golf alone. Unfortunately,
Super
alone,
stuff.
but it's fantastic. Maybe now with the agreement between PGTI and WGI, maybe things would get better in the future. The tour would grow, WGI would grow. Fingers crossed for that.
So that's great to know, that
Yeah.
someone is putting out so much for you girls out
Yes,
there.
sir.
But definitely, yeah,
Yes, sir.
it shouldn't be only three. There should be more. So they need help
Right.
actually to have a bigger pool of players
Right, sir.
who need support. And also,
Right, sir.
suppose someone like you who wants to go and try for the Q school and stuff like that. So that could be another area where a lot of corporate sponsorship is required for
Absolutely.
you,
Yes,
for
sir.
people like you to get out there. Yeah, so I
Yes, sir.
understand. So not
Yeah.
everybody is number one and number two. So even the
Yeah.
person who's third or fourth in your tour requires help like that. So which
Right,
is a
sir.
big thing. So those are the
Definitely.
girls who need more help. So someone's shouting out and saying you will be where you want to be, G. So that's
Who is
inertia golf.
this?
So inertia
Oh,
golf.
okay. That's
Okay.
my club fitter, Lee.
Uh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Karthik Singh wants to ask you a question. Karthik, you know that little Karthik.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah,
So
I played so many
what
putting
what
matches with him.
and he's a good putter, huh?
Definitely. Fantastic
He said,
putter.
so what do you think you could have done better during your junior days?
So honestly, if I have everything under my belt, I did the best I could.
Super
So,
stuff.
but
Great
I
answer.
think, yeah. So, there's nothing I would change about my junior year. I have everything
Right.
I wanted. I played the World Championship. I've done everything. So I'm very, very happy with how I planned my junior year, exactly when I was speaking. So I'm really happy with, I
I
couldn't have done anything better, honestly.
I love that no regrets kind of attitude. I
Yeah.
love it. You're looking
Thank
forward.
you.
There's no baggage. There's no
No,
regrets.
nothing at
Yeah.
all.
Super stuff. So, in your opinion, Karthik is asking, how many days of coaching is good for a 10-year-old kid?
So honestly, 10 year is the age I started, and Karthik has been playing for quite some time now, and
That's right.
he has already achieved so much. So I think every time I meet him and any junior golfer, whether I'm doing clinics at the Indian Open, I always tell them that do you love the sport? It's not about playing the sport because your parent wants you to. You need to love the
Right.
sport. If you love the
Right.
sport, you would want to excel it in yourself, right? Like if I have some kind of pressure coming in from my parents and I'm reluctant to doing that thing, I will not do it. I will do it for
Right.
their sake, maybe, but never my 100. And if you're not
Right.
doing your 100, there's no point of being in any sport. So I
Right.
think just Karthik, you just got to love the game. You just need to enjoy at this level. You don't want to peak out too early, right? You're just 10 right now. You need to delay your peak to a particular age. Don't peak out at 12 or 13. We've seen that happen with a lot of top golfers. Unfortunately, they peaked out too early and now they are not even playing golf anymore. And with your talent, I would really want you to go far.
Wow,
Yeah.
Gaurika, you become quite the speaker. I mean, you're
Thanks.
actually encouraging these guys. That's a good one,
I
Gaurika.
wish I could apply it for me. No, just kidding.
You
Yeah.
have. Definitely you have. No wonder you are where you are. That's
Yes,
pretty
sir.
good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next question which comes in is Rishi Vadera. All the best for the
Yes.
future, Gaurika. But and what's the most memorable win for you and why?
I think my All India, the final match play, I was playing against Diksha, and it's a 36 hole match play. And I remember I was leading by quite a few margin after 18, but I don't know what happened. Suddenly, I started losing strokes, and Diksha started gaining. And the tournament came till the 35th hole. And on the 35th hole, I was one up, and there was so many crowd because a match play has never really gone that far that you come to the 35th hole.
Hmm.
So It went to the 35th hole, and I remember I just made a safe par, and unfortunately, Diksha bogeyed that hole, and I won the All India Amateur Championship that way, and I can never forget that. Like every time I feel like maybe I'm not good enough. I think that happens with every player, every
Of
sports
course,
person. It's part of
of
your
course.
journey. I
Yeah.
always go back to my win and think that, if I can be mentally so focused, so confident of myself that despite losing so many shots, I still won on the 35th hole, then I can do it again anytime. So I think that's one win that always drives me.
So I think that's a
Yeah,
great answer because you also have a learning from that answer that you just gave. That no matter
absolutely.
how much you fall out of your winning ways, you'll always return to it provided you do things
Yes,
correctly
sir.
and
Provided
stick
you
in it.
don't give up. That's
Yeah,
the
you
point.
dig
I
your
think
heels in and that's
that's
it. Yeah.
yeah, that's what the win teaches me, that never give up. This game is unpredictable and you never know, you'll just win it.
So what do you think, Rishi? You think that was the answer that you were looking for? You got just more for that. Okay, the next one comes in is this girl. I know I've met her a few times. Her name is
Right.
Muskan Bhardwaj. She
Okay.
says she's asking if I want to. I think she may be about 14, 15, or maybe a little bit
Right,
more.
sir.
Now,
Yeah.
if you want to become a professional golfer, how can she go about it in India?
So
She
firstly,
plays here.
like she wants to know the process of it.
Yeah, I think she wants to know what process
Okay.
she should follow.
So, so far the number of girls isn't too much. That's why we do not have any kind of qualifying school. Yet lately, I found out that there's still some kind of a criteria to turn professional where you need to go through an eligibility test, player
Okay.
eligibility test. I think that's what they call it. And I believe you're supposed to shoot a certain number over 2 days.
PAT. There's a
Now,
player ability
yes,
test.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. So you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to shoot a certain number over 2 days, and
Right.
if you qualify, then you're very much welcome to be part of the WGI. But also
Okay.
there are some exceptions for, I believe, top 10 on the IGU. In their case, they can just turn professional by just signing an agreement, filling a form, and just giving out the details. But for
Right.
someone who's outside top 10 or top 15, I'm uncertain about the number.
Right.
I think Nishikant Jha would be able to tell you much better about it. And but yeah, so after like outside of top 10, you got to go for your pat. And if you're inside top 10, you just got to fill up a form, and you're welcome on the pro tour.
Right. Wow. So that's great learning, Muskan, right there. So it seems that there's a PAT. If you are not within the top 10 or top 15, you can find that number
Yes,
out
sir.
from the
Yeah.
WGAI secretary, and he'll be the best person to guide you over there. But thanks for showing her the way. Okay, the
Yeah,
next
no, you're most welcome.
Yeah, so the next one comes in from Brandon D'Souza. He says, I was most impressed when I saw you in Hyderabad, chasing your eventual objective, but stay patient, work even harder, and remember that others are not there to make up the numbers. So
Yeah,
he
well
wishes you
said.
very well, and he
Yeah,
gives you
I
a lot
know
of
sir
advice on
does.
that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So Rishi was very satisfied with that answer. He says, brilliant answer. Super.
That's great.
Then
Yeah.
Anmol Arora comes out and says, love the confidence, Gaurika. Then in brackets, Didi. Good to see you again. Yeah, you
Yeah,
remember
same here,
Anmol.
Anmol. Yeah, these are all guys that I've played with when I was so much young, and now they're just everywhere. So yeah, that's great. Thank you, Anmol.
So Inertia Golf has so much talent in India, both on and off the golf course. So this girl, Bhardwaj, is from Salwan School,
Okay,
and she appreciates that answer as well. So,
that's
any
great.
juniors out there you would want to say how they should go about it? You know, a lot of parents now have this thing that they need to play tournaments. How important is tournament golf experience at a young age?
So it's definitely important, but at the right age. I think initially, also, you don't really have any fun tournaments here. Everything is competitive in India. So, I think tournament golf is really important because there are so many players who can score well on the course when they're not playing a tournament. But suddenly they go into a tournament and they're not able to score well because they just can't take the tournament pressure. So it's very important to get yourself accustomed to the pressure slowly and steadily. so that when you start playing the national events, your amateur tour, you're absolutely 100% ready to perform in those. So yes,
Right.
it's important for a junior golfer to adjust themselves to the tournament pressure. So when they're on the tour, they can just boom, go for it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
There's another good question coming up from Avani Prashant. Avani is this young girl from Bangalore.
Hmm.
She plays top level golf at her age group,
Okay,
so
wonderful.
internationally and nationally. So
That's
great to know you, Gaurika. I met you once when you finished as a top amateur at the DLF in 2018. So what
okay.
carry distances do you hit it now? And what distance did you hit when you were 13 with
I
your
think Romit
driver?
sir is gonna answer that for me. What is my
What
carry
did no,
distance?
no,
Uh,
it's pretty decent actually. You have
I
improved a
think,
lot
yeah,
over
I
the last few
have,
months.
but
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
that recently I've lost a little bit of muscle. So I've lost a few yardage, but I'm still very happy because I'm still hitting it straight. I'm hitting it high. So, but
That's
yeah,
good. That's a
like
good sign.
yeah, so I think it doesn't really matter what your carry distance is. I've seen players who will bomb their drives, but they don't score well. So it's very important for a player to know how to score with whatever they have. You cannot be
Right.
intimidated by a player who hits it 15 yards past you. I have all these young girls and boys come to me and they ask, I hit it so long. But I say, but how do you score? You hit it long, but
Right.
what's your
Right.
scoring? So end of the day, that is important. No one is going to ask you, did you hit it 250? Did you hit it 300? They're just going to see what you finished after 18. So I'm telling all of you, please don't be intimidated by your co-player's driving distance. Please don't feel that you're hitting it short. There's more to golf than just the driving and the distance.
Right.
Everything's in short game. I realized it late, but everything is in the short game.
Right. Those
Yeah.
putts, if they don't drop, no matter how
Absolutely, sir.
close you hit it,
Doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't make
Doesn't
any
matter.
difference. Yeah.
No, no,
That's right.
doesn't matter.
That's right. We understand that.
Yeah.
So tell us about something about your daily work ethics. Is Govind
During
Srinivasan.
lockdown or before lockdown? I would like to talk about during.
Before.
Okay, fine, before.
Before.
Well, generally, like now that I'm done with my undergraduation, I start off my day in the morning with some meditation. Then I go to the golf course and I take my lunch with me. And I like to have my home food instead of, having just stuff in the golf course. So I always carry my lunch with me. I'm pretty much in the golf course from 9 a.m. till 3. Then from there, both Sanit and I, we go to the gym, at least 1.5 hours in the gym, and then I get home. So my day is just golf and workouts. That's it, really.
Right.
But luckily,
Fantastic.
during the lockdown, things have changed for me in a good manner. I feel I'm reading every day how difficult players are finding it to get their mindset right during the lockdown. But I feel for me, it's worked out in great ways because I'm I'm a kind of person who has a lot of hobbies. My life is more than just golf and workouts. So this lockdown has actually given me a great opportunity to focus on all the things that I missed out when I was performing, traveling, playing well, working out, and just being very much into the game. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy. That's my like that's what I do during the lockdown.
Super. And share with us a little
Yeah.
bit of what you've been doing during this lockdown.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. That's why I brought it up. So
There you go.
I love
I'm a good
baking.
teacher. I understand exactly
Definitely,
what the
you're
student
getting my
wants.
clues. Good job. So I love baking, and I've been baking a lot during the lockdown, and everything healthy. I try to make everything healthy. I think the lockdown has given me a very healthy twist, given a healthy twist to my food.
Good.
And other than that, I love listening to music. So music, painting. Also, I'm part of a family-owned foundation. It's called the Bhajan Global Impact Foundation, and I would love to talk about it a little. Also, so the inspiration of the
Sure,
foundation
sure.
comes, yeah. So the inspiration of the foundation comes from late Chief Minister of Haryana, Chaudhry Bhajan Lal ji, and we are actively working right now during this time of distress Our foundation is impact partners with a movement called Youth Feed India, and we have been providing relief packages to the underprivileged, to the daily labor wagers, to the migrant laborers, the widows, single mothers. So our foundation is playing a very active role during this time, and I think it's very, very important for everyone to do their bit. I've been urging all my followers to please look after people around you, people who have been helping you, like maybe your gardener, your domestic helper, your cleaners of the house. It's a very tough time for all of them since the lockdown has eliminated any kind of earnings for the family. And I would really urge all of you to please look after one person during this entire lockdown. It can be anyone. It can be someone who comes to your house to work. It can be someone who you know is facing challenges during this time. But I would really appreciate if everyone takes responsibility for one person during this time.
I love that because, in
Yeah.
every one of my chats, we've been doing the same thing. We've been
Right,
appealing
sir.
to everyone who's been viewing and help out someone. Help someone you know, someone
Absolutely, sir.
you may not even know the guy, but you know he's in distress.
Right,
Reach
sir.
out and help
Yes.
that person because that's the only way that we can participate in this whole thing and
Right,
play
sir.
our part.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
definitely.
we
I
our
think
businesses are
it's on our shoulders. Not a person should die of hunger.
right,
It'll be a black mark if that happens. So
right,
we all must support at least someone who we know needs
sure.
support.
Absolutely, and I think they're all listening, and we're all trying to
Yeah,
play that
I'm
part,
glad, sir.
and
Yeah.
I'm glad that everybody will help out. Great. So coming back to a little bit of questions, Faisal Qureshi is asking this question: how can we improve the WGAI tournament spectator numbers?
Okay. That's a great question. Sometimes we do get a good turnout, but we just get a casual turnout. Someone who's teeing off on the first would want to see you on the ninth. I
Right,
think the best way is to make our presence felt. We come play a tournament in a city and we disappear. So we really need to work on our presence through social media. We need
right,
to have more followers. We need girls to be giving shout out to the tour so that we get followers from different walks of life also. We should
right,
be announcing on our social media. I think the social media plays a great role during this age in informing
right,
other people. It's not viable to go to a single person and request them to come and watch us. So I
right,
think social media presence is one thing which is going to be very, very important for the tour to grow. We need
right,
people to know that there's a women's tour also. And we are very fortunate to have a women's tour. There are so many leading countries who are producing great champions, but they do not have a national
sure, yeah,
tour.
that's
So
right,
unfortunately, they have to play tours of neighboring countries. But luckily, that's not the case with us. We have a national tour, we have a very decent amount of prize money, and we have fantastic competition. We have LET winners playing on our tour. So that's a great deal. So I think we just need to hype the tour at this point of time through social media.
right, and I know that you guys went through a tough time just trying to set it up. The
Yes,
tour.
sir.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
this was I think somewhere in 2004,
10, 11
2005.
years ago, because
Yeah,
last year I
yeah.
think we complete 10 years of the tour.
Or is it? So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it
at
was
least
the
a
end of the
decade.
2000, the first part. But yeah, lots of things had to be done to get your tour up and running.
Right,
And
sir, definitely.
I remember, I think 2005 or 2006 when
Hmm.
you guys had this first Indian Open which was staged,
Yes,
and
sir.
it was a great event. It was a great event, and I know Simi had a lot of active role to play in that one. She
She
got all her
did,
friends in
definitely.
from the states who to
Right, sir.
participate in the event, and Mrs. Sayal, who's been
Hmm.
quite the strong. I mean, I guess she's the only one who kind of
Yes,
was
sir,
out there trying
absolutely.
to get everything together, along with Simi.
Yeah.
Simi was there, Noni. I think they all kind of pitched in to do this, and it was a great start. And I think what Faisal is asking is can has been well answered by you. Well, it's something that you need to promote more. What do you
Right,
think
sir.
about pro-ams or something? Do you think that will make a difference to your tour? Because
Absolutely.
I thought that would be a
Yes,
yeah,
sir. We had proams about 2 years ago, but I don't know
Mm-hmm.
due to what reason there have been no proams for last for this year so far in the
Okay.
last year, and
Okay.
we have put this point across through board meetings
Super.
via the player representative that we definitely need more proams, and if they would wish, all of us would be happy to do golf clinics in whichever course we are playing, just to attract more spectators, for people to know that there's a women's tour and it's not a tour for the namesake. All of us are performing extremely well.
But
That's
that's a
equally
great thing
important.
coming from a player. When you said, forget the pro, I'm not interested. That's something which is it's a sponsor driven system.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you said player clinics, I think
Yes,
that
sir.
is something that you've just touched a nerve
Yeah.
over there, which can actually help a lot.
Yes, sir, definitely.
It's not only taking, but it's actually giving back.
Yeah, yes,
And
sir.
when you're giving
Yeah,
back with player clinics, I think you gain much more recognition than
definitely,
anything.
sir.
And
Absolutely.
I think if
Yes.
you guys actually start doing player clinics on every tournament
Yeah.
for the club members and
And
their
I think
juniors who are there, yeah,
we always have a great turn up for even the pro-ams. It's never
right.
happened that a girl couldn't play because there were not enough amateurs. So
Right.
definitely, if we go forward with a golf clinic, I'm sure the turnout would be equally good.
Right. So everybody
Yeah.
knows that the women teach the best because we've all had our mothers telling us exactly what to do, and
Yeah,
they've
that's
always taught
actually,
us
I think
well.
that's true.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course they
we're
do.
very patient.
Who's the principal in your house? You see?
Mom.
There you go. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a great takeout from this one. Well, we go
Yes,
to the
sir.
next question. This girl is called Arushi Banot. Right now she's 10 and I mean 10 or she's in class 10 and
Okay.
wishes to play college golf in the US. So how should I divide my time between golf and studies?
Okay, that's a good question. I think it also depends on what kind of a student you are. Are you
Right.
the kind of student who can do a lot of quality study in very less quantity? Or are you the kind of student who will need a lot of hard work? So if you're going to
Wow.
need a lot of hard work, you will have to put a lot of hard work, obviously, with your studies. But if you can actually, if you're fortunate enough to be a student who can do a lot of quality in very less quantity, then it's going to be a cakewalk, really. And I think I also feel that at some point, we all feel that, maybe education is coming in between with golf. But what we don't look at it's like the positive side of it. You have something to get your mind off golf. Since I have done my undergrad, I sometimes feel I'm getting too involved into the game
Right.
and I'm thinking too much about the game. I come home and I still have golf on my mind. Whereas earlier I came home, I had my college friends to talk with. I had studies to do and assignments to finish. So I could absolutely detach from the game. So I would urge all the girls and boys who are trying for college golf not to look at this as education coming in way, but to look at it as something that gives your mind a rest from golf. So it will help you
Can,
actually perform very well in both things.
Super. Can I use
Yeah.
you like for my junior clinics or like stuff like that? Because you're saying a lot of stuff over here which makes sense.
Absolutely. Yippee.
So,
I
because
love that.
Gaurika, you've got another part-time earning right there.
Yeah. No, no, not too many people have seen this part of me.
Yeah,
I
I know.
think I
I've
speak
never seen
well.
it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think
You've
it's
just seen
brilliant
the
what you're
shy
doing.
me who comes in,
Yeah,
does
you're
a
right.
swing work with you and then goes.
You need to be on a camera more often. No,
Yeah,
good,
thank
well
you.
done. So I think
Thank
that's where
you.
you are shining. When the limelight's on you, you really go out there and
Yeah.
speak your heart out, which is the best thing that I can hear over here. You're speaking your heart out. You're
Yes,
speaking
sir,
exactly,
absolutely.
and you're
Yeah.
taking, and it's not the same path. You're just taking out something else out of every situation, which is
Yeah.
brilliantly done.
Yeah,
So
I think that's what I've learned in my family. Like my family has always, if ever I had a negative outlook to something, they would tell me, no, don't look at it this way, look at it that way. And I think looking at it from the positive aspect will always reap benefits, never the negative aspect.
right.
So
Right.
yeah.
So the next question was, I think, similar, is what schedule, studies, golf, fitness, would you suggest for a 16-year-old junior boy golfer in class 12 who's taken a
Okay.
call to play golf in his career?
I think at the age of 16, it's important to start off with your fitness because I feel I started with my workouts and everything seriously way too late. Like I only just got serious about my fitness. But I think the earlier you start, I think 16 is a perfect age to start. So I'm sorry, what was the question? I
The
got a
question
little
was
lost.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah, no worry. What
Yeah.
schedule or studies golf fitness would you
Hmm.
suggest for a 16-year-old junior golfer in class 12 who's taken a call to play golf as his career?
Okay.
So,
So I think 12th you'll also have your boards right now.
yeah,
So you're gonna, but is it might be done with the boards, but anyway, I think if golf is going to be your career, you will also always have to give more priority to it. But do understand that your workout comes with the game. It's
right,
not an extra. It's not something you can avoid. If you're playing
right.
golf, you are working out. There's no
Super.
if and but here.
That's
So
right.
I think at your age, it would be wonderful if you can go to a fitness coach, get your assessments done, see what needs to be corrected, in the sense that all of us have different issues in our body. Someone might have a tight hamstring or the glutes might be weak. So at this age, if you start off with the process, by 18, you'll feel so much stronger with your swing.
Right.
So I think it's a wonderful idea at the age of 16 to go and see a trainer and get your physical assessment done.
So again, you've taken out
Yeah.
just another thing. You said that, if you've chosen golf, then obviously everything else is with it. It's not that
Yeah,
you have to do
absolutely,
anything
sir.
separately.
No,
Yeah,
there's
fantastic.
no option. There's no golf and workout. It's always going to be together, especially golf and
Right.
workout. Yes,
So when
sir.
you started training with Romit sir, have you seen a difference? There's someone called Suresh Kanan. So
Okay.
I don't know where
So
that came
I've
from. Yeah.
honestly, I have seen a difference. Romit sir is a coach who is technical, and it was honestly a big change for me because I have been with coaches who have been very basic. So I think you just need to trust him. I think if you give him your 100% trust, you will see results. So if you talk about my results, I've definitely seen that my biggest issue of my ball flight being low has been sorted out. Now I can attack the pins that I wouldn't go for earlier just because my ball swing was low and the ball wouldn't stop. So I think that is the biggest difference I've seen with Romitsa and the biggest major difference. It's not something little that I was hoping to do. It's a big change that I wanted to do. It's not minor for me. It was a major problem. So I think if I got my major problem sorted in like 4, 5 months, he's worth a try.
Thanks. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sister. So
No,
enough
this
of
is my
me now.
absolutely honest.
Enough of
It's
me.
honest reviews. Nothing. It's not. I'm not saying it for the
Okay.
sake of it.
We're gonna save that for another day where I'm gonna be on the mat when someone else is asking me the questions. But well done. So hopefully Rishi says WAGI will start the Instagram handle like LET and LPGA.
That's what I noticed. Like, although I did mention it, but also to tell you about the results since the agreement has happened between WGI and PGTI.
Right.
Surprisingly, we've suddenly got active on Instagram, and I'm really happy to see that.
Oh
We
wow.
also, through this platform, I'd like to tell people that please go follow our page, WGI, Women's Golf Association of India. And you would
Okay.
see regular updates of our tournaments, how the draw is coming out, the results, some swing pictures of the players. So I'm happy to say that the affiliation with PGTI is already bringing in the positives.
Super. Yeah, a lot of learning there because PGTI has kind of just built it from scratch
Yes,
and has
sir.
built a brilliant,
Absolutely.
brilliant system.
Yes, yes.
And that's what we always
Already the
require.
tournaments are counted for world ranking. That's a huge achievement. So WGI can definitely follow the footsteps.
Right. So
Yeah.
another question is when you lose a tournament, I think that's the I think that's a summary because I've kind of lost the question. It I think said that when you lose a tournament and do you feel low and how do you get out from it? Something like that where obviously you've lost a tournament and you kind of gone down a
See,
bit of bit.
I think your life is not going to be easy. For a sports person, it won't be. And the sooner you realize it, the better it's going to be for you. You're going to lose tournaments, you're going to lose more than you'll win. Let me put it that way. So you can't take every lost tournament so emotionally and personally. You're never going to bounce back. So you got to just see it as one bad week And it's not a big deal. Like it's all a part of it. It's all a learning process. I don't think you would see a player who's won more than they've lost.
Right.
Never. So you're going to lose, but what's very important is that every loss will teach you something. So every time you lose a tournament, you've learned something. And a good player would know what they've learned. That's important. You don't just lose a tournament, cry about it, and begin again. You lose a tournament, you cry about it, but then you learn something from it. That's
Right.
that's very important because that's how you're going to win tournaments. You need to take your learning experiences. You need to know why did you not perform well, be it your last day or be it with a particular person in a group. It can be anything. I know people who generally play with someone who they do not like and they play bad. So
Right.
that's also very common. So you just got to figure out that why did you lose the tournament? Point it down, write it down, discuss it with your coach. If it is something related to fitness, discuss it with your trainer. If it is a mental aspect, discuss it with your psychologist. So that's why I said you need to have a good team who keeps
Right.
backing you up with every loss. So I think losing a tournament is very normal. You just got to take it in a good way and just walk forward from there stronger.
Gaurika, I'm impressed. We need to get you on a show again.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay,
I
there's
think I'm
another one.
good.
You're pretty good. You don't think you are good. So, the next one coming in from Sumit Singh Bisht, a friend of mine. I mean, this is, I think, a concerned parent here,
Right,
but
sir.
also looking for a quick solution. I mean, a good solution for something that is close to his heart. What's the advice for Naira and Naisha, 8-year-old,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
they had joined 6 months ago in a clinic at DLF.
Hmm.
However, lost their interest amongst the busy school schedule. What do you
Okay.
think is the right age to start again?
Um, like if I started in 10 and I've done enough, I think it's a good age. I'm not very pro of having kids into golf too young, unless and until they like it. Because
Right,
generally, honestly, sir, at a very young age, boys are more into football and cricket, not a slow sport like golf. I love the
right,
game, but that's the reality. It's a little slow sport. It can be slow for a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old who's a bundle of energy, who just wants to
right,
go probably kick a ball, run around. So unless and until they don't want to be a part of the sport, we shouldn't push it. But you should definitely take them to the golf course. If you are a playing parent, then they can sit and watch you. And you never know, maybe they like it and they'll just pick up the sport. I mean, if the girls have lost interest personally, like they don't want to play anymore, it can be something to do with the age. But if they've lost interest because they're busy with the school schedule, I'm sure something can be done about it and the girls can just get back to the game. There's
right.
always time for a person to take out to play a sport, be it golf or football, anything really. And I think it's very important for young children.
Yeah, these are two girls, I think, yeah,
Yeah,
Aisha and
yeah.
right. So, okay, so next one. How does a junior golfer assess his progress towards his successful movement towards his goal? Towards his goal. So how do you assess it? Like, are you progressing the right way? Are you not doing the right things? So I think this is again a concerned parent who's asking it about a young guy who wants to turn pro but doesn't know whether he's taking the right decision and
Right,
should he
sir.
still continue in that process or should he take up an alternative career as well?
Um, so I feel you're stroking average.
Okay.
It's easy to sometimes win an event. Maybe you're too good, or maybe it's a fluke. It can be anything. It depends on the field that day, depends on the conditions also. Some people perform well in a certain condition, others don't. And by that, I mean physical conditions. Um, but I think your stroking average is quite important. You want to see if you want to turn professional on the PGTI, you should probably pull up the records of last 2 years, see what the qualifying scores are going at, and then judge if you're good enough.
Right.
You might be a great player, you might be a good ball striker, but you're not able to score well on the course, and your scoring average is too high to even qualify for the Q school. So I think the stroking average is what it comes to. But again, I have a positive in this here. There's always a
Right.
but when I'm speaking. So, but the thing is, you all need to embrace how unique you are. Well, you can never compare two players. You can never compare yourself and someone else who probably turned pro at your age. For example, Shubhankar turned pro at a young age. If there are boys who are not turning pro at 16, doesn't mean they're not good enough. Doesn't mean they don't have it in them. So again, it's very unique to you. And I would always say that never ever lose hope. Even if your scoring average is not good, work hard on it. Don't think कि अच्छा scoring average is not good. I'm not made for it. I'm not gonna go. Why? You can always work hard and make it better. So if you're really passionate about something, you will be good enough. There's no other way about. There's no two ways about it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Fantastic, great advice. I think good stuff, Gaurika. Okay, we'll take another couple of questions before we get cut off. If we get cut
Okay.
off, I'm just saying, we need
Yes,
to
sir.
just redo the whole thing. I'll just go live again, and you can
Okay.
just join in again, okay? So
Okay.
if you
Okay.
just
Cool.
get cut off in because
Got it. Yeah.
Instagram cuts you out after an hour.
An hour, right?
Neha Tripathi is asking you the next question.
I was
Now,
reading
now,
that only.
now you need to figure this out because I don't know what she's saying.
Okay.
Gaurika, as a junior golfer or as a pro? Question mark. What's your own pick and why?
Okay. Okay. Um, mm, I think, oh, I think as a junior golfer, honestly,
Okay.
because I feel when you're a junior or even an amateur, there's less competition. People are not, like they're not on you all the time. And you have friends. You actually have friends around you. Like I absolutely loved my junior days, and when I turned professional, even in India, I was feeling really sad. I'm like, no, yeah, I'm gonna leave all my friends behind, and I'm gonna turn professional. So I think a junior golfer any day over a professional because I think the kind of friendships you make in your junior days, they last you lifetime. If you're going to stay in golf, they last you a lifetime. They really do. And you enjoy every tournament. You know there's no pressure. You know you're not, you're just playing because you love the game. There's not much pressure of being number one or number two. So you can just really enjoy golf as a junior golfer with your best friends. So I definitely junior golfer.
Super
And that's
stuff.
also the reason I'm saying this is because I would want all the junior people to know this, that I'm a professional and I prefer my junior days. And these are your junior days. So make your 100% of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes like putting food on the table when you're
Yeah.
professional, and it's not all that fun anymore. I mean, not at the way that you had fun in your junior years.
No,
You know, there you
it's
were
never
just
the
having a
same.
blast. Yeah, you're just having
Absolutely.
a blast, enjoying with your
Yes, sir.
friends, traveling, eating
Yes,
out. You
sir.
know,
Just the professional
doing.
circuit is
Yeah,
really competitive. Some people
yeah.
would definitely enjoy that. But
Right.
for someone who's a little carefree and likes to have friends around, I think junior golf is the time.
Yeah, so maybe as a professional, it doesn't mean that you have to have your friends from the professional circuit. You can have your own bunch and have a party on the
Absolutely.
side. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
So fantastic, great advice there.
Yes,
Gaurika, it
sir.
was great to have you. Someone just
Yeah.
said something which is apt for this to end on this conversation. The shine you see on G is a perfect example of honesty and integrity. Thank you, Gaurika. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
So
And
also through this platform, I
sure,
would definitely like to. I was watching Ryan sir's video,
right.
and I think it's really, really important, a neglected part, but important for golfers to have a nutritionist. I I have been working with a nutritionist for some time, Miss Shilpa Arora,
Right.
and I feel that I see great difference in my game. I know every parent feels that they know what to feed their child, but I 100% agreed with Ryan
Ryan,
sir when he said that you
right.
need to start the feeding early in the age so that
Yes,
you
and
can
it's not
teach
about dal
them.
chawal sabzi. Yeah,
No, so you can teach them to eat right and know what to eat. That's equally
right,
important. So I
right,
think if you're summing it up, I would say to everyone out there that just please enjoy golf and play the game for the love of the game, not because you're pressurized into it or not because you're supposed to play according to someone else. please work out, stay fit, very important, and have a good diet plan also.
Well done, well done.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. And
Thank you,
again,
sir.
the appeal again goes out. Please help out anybody that you can. Gaurika and
Yes.
her
Yes,
family fund,
please.
I mean, that foundation is doing a great job. And thank you, Gaurika, for
Yeah.
that
Thank you so
great
much,
angle,
sir.
great insight from your family. Uh,
Yes, sir.
sure, best of luck, and we'll see you on the
Thank
other side
you.
of the lockdown. Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely, sir. See you soon.
Bye
Bye.
bye. See you.